On July 24th, the Fantastic Four First Steps will be released in the theaters, marking the first time that Marvel's first family will become a part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But it's far from the first time the Fantastic Four have been on screen. Ahead of the film's release, join the Collegiate for a discussion of how we got here and what might be coming next.
Dude, I'm so excited for this movie.
I'm
so excited that Fantastic Four is going to be in the MCU.
Finally.
Finally. I've been wanting this forever. We've had technically 4 standalone movies, right? If we're dating back to 1994 when that first one came out, which I just watched recently.
How was it?
It was all right. Like, it was like, I'm sure if I was alive back in 1994 and watched it then, I would have been like, oh, this is a pretty good movie.
Sure.
It's not terrible. Now I'm like, it makes sense in the era when it was made. But like,
It does.
when it was made,
It does.
like,
I mean, that was like 30
to be
years
fair,
ago.
we weren't alive in
1994. Wasn't that when they were like making Jurassic Park and stuff?
Yeah.
If I recall, Marvel made that so they could hold on to the property and stuff because they didn't want anyone else getting their hands on it.
Probably, but like,
It was kind of rushed and stuff, at least from what I saw. I mean, I'm not trying to hate on the movie as much or anything. It was just they were rushed. Like,
it's not a
"Quick,
great movie.
We must hold on to the property, our precious."
Yeah, right. But no, like, I'm excited. I don't know if it's anything like the 2015
Fan four stick. Is what we always call it.
I just call it
Fans.
the
A lot of us always
second
call it that because
No,
the way they
of-
You got to call it Fan 4 Sticks. That's
Fan
long
4
now.
Sticks?
Yeah.
Okay.
because the way they stylized the title.
Yes, the logo had the 4s.
Yeah. If it's anything like that, I didn't hate that movie, but it wasn't the greatest movie. By all means, I know you hated it. We'll get to that in a second. If it's my favorite Fantastic Four movie is Rise of the Silver Surfer, so if it's anything like that, I'm gonna be super excited. Like, and I think it'll be a great introduction. Because now I want to see if Fantastic Four is in the MCU. I want to see a Spider-Man Fantastic Four team up. That would be amazing.
Well, interestingly, Kevin Feige just recently said that this movie will be the first MCU movie that requires absolutely no homework. It is the first actual standalone MCU film because it's in a different dimension. Now, it's also been confirmed that the cast of this movie is going to be in the Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars crossover.
Awesome.
And spoilers for the Thunderbolts movie, the post-credit scene of that movie featured the Fantastic Four ship flying past the window. So we know that they are going to be combined at some point.
Yeah.
And apparently, and this is, I guess, half Kevin Feige's statement and half speculation, the Fantastic Four movie is going to in some way lead to, after Doomsday and Secret Wars, a soft reboot of the MCU where we, as viewers, go into a different dimension. And that, so they will end up, they've announced they're going to recast Tony Stark and Steve Rogers in this new dimension. We're basically just going to start over.
Okay.
I imagine so Doctor Doom's going to do something, but so we know these characters are going to appear in the MCU, but not yet, because so far in this movie they're going to be in their own independent universe. This is the first period piece too. I guess if I recall correctly, all of the previous Fantastic Four movies have been set in the present day.
Yeah.
And this one is set in the 60s, which is unique. And
I
I like that a lot. I love the
glad
aesthetic.
I'm glad we agree with that one.
Retro-futuristic.
I love that. Once I saw the trailer for this movie, I was like, oh my gosh, this looks really like set in an old era, old time. I'm like, I'm excited for this one.
In the best way, it doesn't look like it's going to be more of a movie.
No.
It looks like it's going to have the features of a Marvel movie that are good, but it's not going to fall victim. It has color, it has set dressing, it has a style and a tone that's not just the MCU.
Which I've been waiting for an MCU movie like that for a while. Like, it's been a while since we got something like this,
right?
And I've been needing it. You know.
Hopefully they don't fall into a lot of the traps modern MCU has fallen into.
I hope not.
Like the unnecessary humor and a lot of that's gone kind of stale.
Yeah.
Well, and interestingly, this is the first MCU Fantastic Four movie, but they have introduced the concept of the Fantastic Four 2 other times. Yeah. They had, it was...
Jim from The Office.
Yes, I can't think of his actual name. I'm just thinking of Jim Halpert. John Krasinski, that's his actual name.
Yeah.
Played Mr. Fantastic in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. And then Chris Evans reprised his role from one of the previous Fantastic Four movies that was not in the MCU as Johnny Storm in the MCU.
Which that that whole scene was the funniest thing ever.
The fact that we all assumed it was Captain America,
Yes.
and even like I've seen posts online that show like his costume was clearly inspired by Captain
Yeah.
America, and you have like the belt and the it's like
Yep.
it was supposed, and then
That's
And
right.
then it was-
and then he
Wade.
said Avengers, no, and then it was
Yep.
it was so cool.
That's right, Wade. You can tell her that too.
The
The post credit scene that he did was, I think,
So
the
good.
best thing out of the MCU post Endgame.
Yep.
And I'm kind of kidding, and I'm kind of not.
It was so. It was
That whole
it wasn't
movie
like
was
that,
great.
yeah, it wasn't like a forced that wasn't like a forced humor type thing. Like
It was
we were talking
actual
about-
humor.
that was actual humor. That was actually just Chris Evans being like, yeah,
It's
I'm good. I'm good at making jokes. I'm funny.
It's what the folks behind the Honest Trailer series on YouTube call the
Yes.
that just happened humor. Like I don't need like, well, so you mean that Doctor Doom has the same face as Tony Stark? That's unbelievable. Like yeah, we know you don't need to make
Yeah.
the joke, make actual jokes. And it seems like this movie is
Which I wonder if they're gonna play off that a little bit since he's playing. Like
they have to acknowledge it.
yeah,
Yeah.
like
They did it with Chris Evans, so they're gonna have to do it with Robert Downey Jr.
I
Right.
will say one thing: as Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic, get out of my life, Pedro.
He's in a lot of movies. He's
he's
in
in
a
a
lot.
lot.
He's the real Clone Army.
There's probably a bunch of Pedro Pascal clones in a lab somewhere.
Probably.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
This is not backed, by the way.
Yeah,
This
that was a
is just
joke.
Speculation.
See, that's a joke. That wasn't a. That was a joke. That was.
Although I'm starting to wonder, because he's in everything now.
See,
I
that's one
can't
of the perks
escape
of
him.
being a good actor or actress. You're in everything.
And it doesn't. It never
Yeah.
seems like he's stunt cast. He always is just genuinely good.
Oh
at
yeah,
what
he
he's
is.
doing.
He is a phenomenal actor. I'll give him that.
Yeah. So it's.
And I'm not hating on him. I do
sure.
love him as
It
an
was like
actor.
Robert Downey Jr. in his prime. Like he was in
Yes.
so much.
Oh, he was. Same with Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah.
and actually, I'm really interested to see Robert Downey Jr.'s take on Doctor Doom. I saw.
Oh, yeah.
Me too.
Hey, have you watched Oppenheimer?
Yes. I
He
love
was
Oppenheimer.
so good
He
in
was
Oppenheimer.
So good in
Oh,
that
yeah.
movie.
It was not Tony Stark.
No.
It was. I mean, granted, he's done other things. But also, if you watch
But like
Doom-
his biggest thing is like people like really only see him as like
Right.
Tony
As a
Stark.
good
and he
guy.
did such a different character. and
Billionaire-
it was so
billionaire
I
playboy
mean, he did
thriller.
a really good job
Emphasis.
playing Tony Stark,
Yeah.
but he gave a very different and very grounded performance.
Yeah.
In Oppenheimer, and I'm very interested to see what that is. But apparently, Doom is not in this Fantastic Four movie at all. Apparently,
Really?
it's just I've heard it's just Galactus.
Yep.
Galactus is
Okay.
the villain, and
I
then
will say-
Doom will
So,
come at some point.
It is
before
weird to
Doomsday.
start with Galactus and Silver Surfer.
Yeah, that is interesting.
because they tend to be like big villains that
And what
come
I
later.
think it might be like part of it is, and I know the second rendition of Fantastic Four, Rise of Silver Surfer, like
Yeah.
it might partly be because like we already got introduced to the Silver Surfer character. So they might be like, hey, these guys are already like the fans are already pretty comfortable
Right.
with this character, like, and we've had Doom every single movie.
They know who Doctor Doom is.
Like,
they know they don't need to.
like so like bringing in Galactus
Yeah.
who isn't super well known unless you're
Right.
super comic.
I'll-
It's a good introduction.
I'll tell you one thing: no Silver Surfer can ever top Keith David.
Yeah.
That voice.
Yeah.
Although I'm sure she'll do a pretty good job
Yeah,
too.
I've heard some theories online and stuff like that on because like technically like I can't remember what the title is for her, like being the Silver Surfer to
sure.
Galactus.
The Herald?
Yes, the Herald. Like that's what the male one was back in Rise of Silver Surfer. That's
Sure.
what he was supposed to be. But he didn't. But like I've heard theories that like if they were connected, it'd be like his wife or whatever, because that's like in
oh yeah,
comics
because
somewhere.
yeah. So
Like
that it's the wife of the original instead of that would be interesting.
And I imagine that part of it had to come. They announced Doomsday is going to feature Doctor Doom, and so
Yeah.
you can't spoil that villain.
You
and
can't
so
spoil that villain,
A lot of MCU movies are sort of pigeonholed by what the studio won't let them do. I know that this Spider-Man movie had to change their concept because it was too close to a different project. I think it was the Captain America movie that it was too similar to.
Well,
So
and they-
I know the studio does sort of dictate you can't
And-
use Doctor Doom. So I wonder if they pivoted. to
And they
Galactus.
changed the reason we got Doomsday was actually because they had originally planned to make it the Kang Dynasty, and
Yep.
then Jonathan Majors got arrested.
Yeah, he was
for
he was
that.
fired from the MCU.
Yep.
And although Kevin Feige has said they were planning on pivoting from Kang before that happened, and that was just the timing. I don't know if
King wasn't really like
he was
there, but
Kang
he
is a
wasn't.
great. I mean, he was in.
Oh, he's
Loki.
great in
He
the
was a great
comics.
Loki character.
Yeah.
He did. I liked him much less than the Quantumania movie.
Yes.
And I think that was what was supposed to set him up to be in the Kang Dynasty. That post-credit scene with all the Kangs, I think it could have been exciting, but I also don't think they set it up properly. But I know a lot of people were expecting Kang to be defeated in the Kang Dynasty, and Secret Wars was always going to introduce Doom. So it was just they introduced him in a movie earlier. I don't know what the plan was, but
Yeah. What I like with them having like Dune being like the big one now and not like the overly powered Thanos is like Doom is like obviously more human. Like
he's just a guy.
He's just a guy, and it's reminds me a lot of like the Lex Luthor of DC. Like it's
Right.
like he's hecka smart. He is
Yep.
so smart, and that's what gets him
yeah.
like to where he is and how
I
big
always
he will
loved
be.
how dramatic Doom was too. Kneel
Exactly.
before Doom, and
Which
all
would be
that.
an interesting counterpoint to Tony Stark. I hope they don't, because I think it's been confirmed he is playing Victor Von Doom. He's not
Yes.
playing a Tony Stark Doctor Doom.
No.
But I hope they don't connect them too. Like it's
Yeah,
you
I hope
reference it and
not.
then move on. But I do think it'll be interesting to see. We've seen how good Robert Downey Jr. is at playing a really smart guy,
Yeah.
and this sort of cocky hero.
Yeah.
How will that happen if it's the same kind of intelligence?
he's a villain now.
But it's a completely different.
It's like
Version of that.
and like I'm gonna make the comparison again. It's like was it Nicholas Hoult
Yeah.
as Lex
Lex
Luthor?
Luthor.
Since I watched that movie after doing a podcast where I didn't watch the movie but still
You watched it after the
Superman.
podcast. Wow.
Yeah, I watched it after. Well, because I knew a lot about Superman.
And
before,
that
but-
that was the thing too. If you read the comics, Doom was a villain, but he was very different than Lex Luthor because Doctor Doom in the comics had lines he wouldn't cross too.
yes,
Right.
yes, that is true.
You know, like for example, there was one of the comics where Valerie, who was the daughter of Mr. Fantastic and the Invisible Woman, where she had found her way to Latveria, and Doom didn't do anything to her. He just called the Fantastic Four to pick her up, and his justification was Doom does not harm children. That was it.
Yeah.
That wasn't his style. He had no qualms with their children. He hated the Fantastic Four, but not their children.
Yes.
I think it's really good to see that this movie, it doesn't feel like a superhero movie.
No.
It feels like a movie about this conflict that the Fantastic Four are facing, and the conflict just happens to be Galactus, and they happen to be superheroes,
Yeah.
but that they feel like people that have superpowers.
Yeah.
They do not feel like superheroes, and I think the worst of the MCU feels like these are just superheroes, and they're only there to, I mean, like Civil War, I think had a great conflict,
Yep.
and also there was some fighting, and I think this movie seems similar in that it has this
Yes.
human conflict that manifests through their superpowers,
Well,
not just those powers.
In general, it just feels fresh, you know, because
Yes.
It does feel
it
very
fresh.
unique.
needs lifeblood because the MCU has just kind of been, you know, on life
been
support.
limping along.
Yeah, it's been limping along. It's been on life support for how long?
since
Endgame,
Endgame, yeah.
basically.
And
I mean,
Endgame.
there have been good
There
movies
have
since
been,
good
Endgame,
yeah,
movies,
but
like
hasn't-
the
there hasn't been any
Spider-Man
momentum.
film.
yeah, they haven't been able to build.
They've been the
momentum.
exception to the rule.
The
They
MCU
haven't
used
been
to be
the rule.
the MCU used to be a very like
Powerhouse.
well, and it was a consistent like I'm gonna go watch the next MCU movie because it's
Yeah.
gonna be good. And now it's I'm gonna wait and see what people think, and then maybe I'll watch it on Disney Plus.
Well, yeah, because
Yeah.
now they're putting out like 4 or 5 movies a year
And shows, which they
And
pulled
shows.
back from that, but they
It's a
definitely
problem
had too
with
much
Star
content.
Wars too. It's
Yes.
like
Yeah,
The streaming
they're-
era ruined a lot of
They're
stuff.
they're pushing too much, and they're giving up quality for quantity.
Quantity.
And
Yeah.
I think this is hopefully this movie is where they start to just dial back the quantity and go back to what they were good at and
Yeah.
putting out quality movies, building up, and just getting to that big point.
Yeah.
Which is what made the MCU so big. Now,
Uh-huh.
my biggest question is, I don't know if it's been released or not because I haven't like paid that much attention. Are they gonna do another like origin story for the Fantastic Four, like how they were created?
From the trailer, it seems like they're already pretty established because they have
Yes.
the Baxter Building. I haven't watched it yet, but there's a video on
They have the
YouTube where
Baxter
Zillow tours
Building.
the Baxter Building. So
And they have
it seems
Herbie.
like I haven't watched the Superman movie yet. Don't sue me, but I've heard that it's not an origin story. Superman just already exists,
Yep, Superman already exists,
and it seems
Yes.
like this movie's
Yep.
going to be the same
He's-
way, where
he's
they already
early.
I like
exist.
that. I like that.
Yes, because we kind of, I mean, I think we know everything we need to. They're a family. They have superpowers, and I think setting it in a different universe allows for there to be world-ending stakes without feeling the same because
Yeah.
it's a different world, it's a different stake, they're different people, so it doesn't feel like the same MCU climax every single time.
Another thing I like about this, the Thing looks like he's practical effects.
Yeah.
The effects look really good.
I'm so like I'm
Michael
so excited.
Chiklis was, unlike in Fan Four Stick
Yeah.
where he was CGI. And they also have. Sorry, I mean to cut you off.
go ahead.
Thing is in clothes. He's not just walking around
Yes.
buck naked. He's
Yes.
in clothes and he looks good. It was like it reminds me of when Michael Chiklis was playing the Thing in the first two
Yeah.
Fantastic Four movies.
And I saw a report that the effects for the Invisible Woman were like chromatic aberration effects they actually could have done practically in the 60s, which is, I think, part of why it looks so grounded
Yes.
is because it is. Because WandaVision did a similar thing where they did effects with strings and they did, the transformations were just a hard cut like they would have done in the era. And I think practical effects, when it's possible, and also trying to pay homage to the ways that effects used to be done when you're doing a period piece,
Yes.
it makes it feel kind of like it was actually made then,
Yeah.
which grounds it in
Yep.
the era, because so much of what we think of as the
Practical
era is
beats.
because of the media.
Oh,
so
yeah.
when we think of the 60s, we're thinking of movies made in the 60s, and so if it feels like a movie made in the 60s, it feels like it's in the 60s.
Yes.
That was quite the sentence. But
It- yeah,
it
that-
drowns it a lot
Practical
more.
always beats CGI because I mean, even if the practical effects fail, there's a certain kind of charm to them.
It still feels real, even when it doesn't work.
I mean, look at. I use the example of the original Power Rangers. Those effects look bad, but there's a certain kind of charm to them. Now compare that to the god awful
movie.
CGI of like the 90s. It's just bad CGI. It's ugly to look
What
at.
people don't realize, like in my opinion, like simplicity when it comes to like making movies
Yeah.
is so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
It is like being like we don't have to have so much CGI in every
Yeah.
single movie.
It's
No,
really easy
less
to
is
bury.
more.
It's really easy to bury everything in plot conveniences and smoke assets, and it's easy to make a movie. I'm a filmmaker. I understand. It's easy to add subplots and unnecessary scenes and tangents, and when you're editing something, just cover it in some smoke and some strobe lights, and it looks good enough. It's easy to make. Well, it's not easy, but comparatively easy to
Yes.
make something. It's much harder to make something that has an internal logic and a style that's consistent, because it means that every single part of it needs to be good.
Yeah.
You can't just sort of fudge it and make it work.
No.
And this movie looks like it actually has care in every part of it. The effects
Yeah.
and the costumes and the world building and the story and the tone and the music. I mean, the music sounds great. From what I've
Oh,
heard,
yeah.
Michael Giacchino is always the win. But
yeah.
He did the Star Trek movies, I think.
I think so. He's done. But
Yeah.
Michael Giacchino. This is sort of a tangent, but Michael Giacchino is
He's phenomenal.
the most versatile composer currently working. I mean, he wrote
He reminds me of
Incredibles, he wrote
Hans
Ratatouille,
Zimmer.
he wrote Lost, and every score sounds a little bit different. He's
Yep.
really good at bending his sound to the
Between
movie.
him and Hans Zimmer. Oh my god.
Hans Zimmer
yeah,
makes a lot
great.
of like soundscapes. I think Michael Giacchino is good at like writing songs. They sound like they get stuck in your head more. Like I was listening to the Ratatouille theme song like 20 minutes ago because like it's really good, but it sounds very different than
Yes.
something like that he wrote for this movie. And I think that there is that care and there is that specificity. It's
Yeah,
not just
he
going to
did-
make a movie. We're making this movie.
Yeah, look up if you get a chance. He did the remake of the Star Trek movies from the Kelvin timeline. The bomb.
Yeah, going back to the thing real quick.
Yeah.
I've seen some banter and stuff online on how he looks and like
Oh.
how he looks bad and stuff like that.
Who,
and I'm
Reed?
yeah, I'm looking.
Oh
at,
my god.
I'm looking. I'm like,
Reed's
guys,
never
these-
going to look good.
Yeah, guys, these guys, it's comic accurate at least. Like that's the biggest thing.
Stretchy Man will always look weird
Yeah.
because it's
That's
so
not
uncanny
even what I
valley.
hear him complaining about. I hear him complaining because they cast Pedro Pascal, if you get what I'm getting at. And I'm just it's just like, grow up. You know, it's
Yeah,
like,
it doesn't
grow
matter.
up.
Yeah, it looks like a very like it's a very
He's a-
specific film.
Yeah, he's a phenomenal actor. You know, it's like, oh, they cast a Chilean man. Who cares?
I see. I think it's more of like we're used to like taller, more like skinnier builds for Mr. Fantastic. So like we look at Pedro Pascal, it's like you look at him, he's like a shorter. He's,
Yeah,
like
he's
a
not the most
bigger-
comic
he's like
accurate
a
choice.
bigger, like shouldered man. So like you're gonna be like, okay, that looks weird. It's whatever.
I do think that the sentiment, sort of when it was first announced, was kind of a why do you do it? But I feel like once the posters came out and the trailer came out, I feel like public opinion has shifted because
has
he's
shifted.
doing a really good job.
Yes.
He can definitely play like the personality, the suave, intelligent man.
Yeah. Pedro Pascal can do anything.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like I said, he's
We're not
just-
turning this into a
he's
Pedro Pascal Glaze episode.
he's
don't
a
worry.
PedroPascalLive.com.
He's
Yeah,
a
right.
chameleon.
I don't own that domain. Please don't
Do
go there. I don't know
not
what it is.
actually look that
Send-
up. We
send
don't
your-
know if it goes
I don't
anywhere.
know where it goes.
Send your fan mail to. No, I'm kidding.
Like, but no.
TheCollegiateLive.com/Pedro Pascal. I can set that one up.
Yeah, right.
We love you, Pedro Pascal.
All right.
No, I'm
Anyway.
kidding.
Any other thoughts on this movie before Friday? Before we get to all go watch it?
I hope I'm not wrong.
Me too.
Me
Because
three.
there's always the chance it's not. But
Because you're doing the review, right?
I wish there was a
Yeah.
fourth guy here so I can say fourth, but me fourth, I guess.
you are the fourth.
You are the
Thank you. Okay. All right. This is devolving into madness. So I think it's time to cut to an outro.
For Marvel fans, The Fantastic Four: First Steps marks an interesting turning point. A film with a unique style and set in a different dimension will likely have ripple effects across the entire MCU, both in universe and in the real world. Once the film comes out, you can check out our review of it at thecollegiatelive.com.